It's a lot to take in when you think about how much of our reality we're creating from all these things. That leads to questions like, is evil real?
So, does evil exist? Yes, I believe it does, because it exists within each of us. The world around us is a reflection. If you want to see less wars in the world, then get rid of the wars within yourself. If we want to see a world with more love, then be the love. If you want to see a world with more compassion, then be the compassion. If you want to see a world with more kindness, then be the freaking kindness.
Amen. That is indeed how it works. I I work a lot with younger people in their 20s or early 30s, and like, I'm going to go change the world. I'm going to go be an activist. And I kind of feel like, so you want to be a bully?
Well, now you're talking about covert narcissism again, because that's what happens. We want to take on, we were born in this world. I wrote this thing for people that are interested to learn more about, I guess, my perspective on this. I woke up in the middle of the night and I got this like download, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And I titled it The 24 Precepts of Universal Mind. And you can find it on my website, robertedwardgrant.com. And I go, like, literally, it was like a channeling. I wrote for like 45 minutes to an hour, and then I went back to sleep. And what it presents us as living as we are dimensionally limited avatars of a higher self. And the reason why we're dimensionally limited is because if we were omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent, there'd be no fun in that game. Think about it. We're playing poker, you and I know the hand you're going to be dealt. You know the hand I'm going to be dealt. I know what you're going to say. I know you're going to respond to my hand. I know you're going to respond to your own hand. There's no fun in that game. The only game that would make sense would be to limit your avatar and make it forget its feminine aspects because it's chosen to be a masculine counterpart. It would forget through a series of forgettings that form the ego. And I am not that. The truth that I am that I am. I am all that is. So we would create a game, and through the law of conservation of energy, we would only have to render the game that we're observing. Explaining Heisenberg's uncertainty principle right there.
What do you tell yourself when you're meditating? I used to sit years ago, and I would actually meditate on that I am sort of thing. And it's not a part of my practice now. Do you have a mantra? Do you have things you tell yourself? Like, what happens inside your perception when you meditate?
I have a chant that I often do that is I learned when I went to Dharamsala. And I published a prime number pattern in 2018 after I was in the Great Pyramid. And like 2 weeks later, I discovered a prime number pattern and a new type of number that we titled quasi-prime numbers that were divisible by, they're differentiated from semi-prime numbers in that they're divisible by prime numbers that are larger than 5.
Wow.
The number 5. And so this separates out the number system so that you recognize that every prime number is a multiple of 24 plus 1.
That's interesting.
Without exception.
Wow.
Every prime number squared will be a multiple of 24 plus 1. So 5 times 25, 5 times 5 is 25. That's 1 times 24 plus 1. 7 times 7 is the next prime number. That's 49. That's 2 times 24 plus 1. 11 times 11 is 121. That's 5 times 24 plus 1. And 13 times 13 is 169. And that's 7 times 24 plus 1. You see the pattern.
I did not know that about prime numbers. That is super cool because finding primes and divisibility by primes is the basis of cryptography. That's
absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. And then I realized that the foundational basis of all prime factorization is the right triangle. And the right triangle, and Fermat did some work on this, but we extended his research and effort on that. And that's what got me into cryptography, that exact effort, that I discovered a new geometric relationship of prime factorization. Now, the point being that when you start to recognize that the world around you is this matrix of your own perception, then your entire life thesis starts to transform. And so what I started to do is when I went to Dharamsala, I got invited to teach the Dalai Lama the prime number pattern. And while I was there, one of the monks taught me the diamond consciousness meditation, which is you wake up at dawn and you go to meditate, you point towards where the sun is rising, let the sun hit you on the pineal gland right at the time. So you have to kind of look, you're not waking up at the same time every day because every day is different. And so then you do a chant, which is it's like and that buzzes your pineal gland in a major way. And then you do that for like 15 minutes, and then you can do the chant backwards as well, and it also works. Mo and you combine it with breath work, and it has a powerfully transformative impact on your consciousness and the level of your awareness. What I think about when I meditate is there's a point in my meditation where I contemplate certain things. I don't try to immediately go into the no thought zone.
Yeah.
But eventually I do end up in the no thought zone. And I think that's one of the most powerful places to find the void within the self. It allows us to, reshuffle the deck in a way. It allows us to recategorize, and it gives the library workers inside of the catalog of our brain the opportunity to kind of reorganize itself and to present more clarity when we come out of it. But that's generally what I try to do in my meditations. I try to contemplate not what I am not, but rather the recognition that I am all of it, because I can't separate my observation from my conditioning biases. Again, we don't see the world as it is. I believe we see it as we are.